Hey, what's up everyone? Back to cover this main slate for Wednesday. I already posted the early slate video, so you can check that out. I'll post a link in the comments below if you want to watch that after you watch this one. So let's get right into it. 8-game slate. You can drop a like and subscribe down below before we get started. I appreciate all the love on the videos. And we have a couple of top-end pitching options today with Verlander, Soroka, and Berrios. I don't mind any of those three. Verlander has a tough matchup against the Brewers, but they have a very low total, 3.5. Verlander's been great all season, very consistent as well. I don't think he's going to pull a James Paxton today. Just been super consistent, only has given up 50 hits in 93 innings, and he has 110 strikeouts. He has given up a lot of bombs, 14 bombs, but so I don't mind going with like a one-off on the Brewers for GPPs, but Verlander's the top play at pitching if you have the salary. Next up, we have Soroka at 10-9. I don't mind him. The strikeout matchup's not great here against this Pirates team. They don't strike out a ton, and he hasn't been tremendous with the strikeouts this season. Only has 57 and 65, so about averaging under strikeout per inning. At 10-9, I think we can do a little better. I don't mind Berrios here at 10-3 either. He's been pretty good as of late. This Seattle team does strike out a lot, and he's pitching at home and should be favored here and he's going to be heavily favored against Tommy Milone. But I kind of like Joey Lucchesi a lot at 96. Great matchup here against Giants in San Fran. They strike out a lot. They strike out a decent amount against lefties, and they are just terrible against lefties. 29th in batting average against lefties this season, just batting .223, and they are dead last in slugging .335 against lefties, and nobody's even close to them. They're slugging .335, and the next closest, 29th, the Royals are slugging .351, so they're just really bad in their own class against lefties. Only guy that's good is Tyler Austin against southpaws, and Lucchesi's been very good as of late. Lots of strikeout upside for him, and it's a great matchup, so I like him at 96. And I'm going to pair him with Mikolas at 72. Besides Mikolas, I don't mind Woodruff if you want another SP2. But Mikolas attacking the Marlins with Cardinals pitchers the last couple days have worked great with Waka and Hudson yesterday. So I'm going to go right back to it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Mikolas has been very good as of late, except for a -13 in Texas. He only lasted an inning and a third. Gave up 7 earned runs, but if you take that start out of it, he's been great since May 1st. And last start wasn't great against the Cubs, but he also left early with an injury. But it looks like he's healthy. It was just to his forearm. And he doesn't have a ton of strikeout upside, but he is very good against righties. And he's going to get to face quite a bit of righties here. The Miami team is extremely righty heavy. And I'll just show you the numbers for him. He's been really good against righties. He's got in trouble against lefties. So it seems like a good spot to target Mikolas. Also gets a big ballpark upgrade. He's only given up a .221 average and a .396 slugging to righties this season. Seems like a really good spot. He's also striking them out a little more. xFIP is also great at 3.51. So I like Mikolas to pair with Joey Lucchesi. Leaves you with plenty to spend on your hitters. At first base today, I like C.J. Cron at 3,500. The Mariners are going with an opener in Guerin, and then he's going to get to face a lefty in Tommy Milone. So he should get to face at least Tommy Milone with 3. He's going to get to face at least a lefty for probably 3 at-bats. 2 for sure, and maybe 3, depending on how long Tommy Milone lasts. Cron has been outstanding against lefties this season, and I do like a twin stack here. Milone has been a little better this season, but he's still a career journeyman, and I don't think he's going to have success against his Twins offense. He's batting .365 against lefties this year with 6 bombs in just 52 at-bats. That gives him a 404 ISO, 205 WRC plus, and a 769 slugging percentage. Also strikes out way less against lefties, only 15% on the season. I love the spot for Cron here at 4,500. At second base, I like Whit Merrifield. I like the Royals a little bit here. I like a Royal stack a little bit against Daniel Norris. Whit Merrifield has been awesome against lefties for his career. Batting leadoff, he has a ton of speed. And this season, he's flashed some great power against lefties in a limited sample. So he has 5 home runs. 5 home runs into 71 at-bats to lefties. Only hitting .211, but I expect that to come up. But he has 5 home runs into 71 at-bats. Only has 2 home runs in 198 at-bats versus righties. So it gives him like a .282 ISO on the season. But he hits for average. He's hit for average against lefties each of the past couple seasons. Last season he hit .357 against lefties, was great. Had 5 home runs. He has power and he has speed. Doesn't have a ton of power, but he has speed. And like getting a couple stolen bases or at least couple doubles and like a stolen base. That's like the same as a home run. So I do like attacking him against Daniel Norris. Norris has been struggling against righties for his career, I assume. Just want to double check on that. Yeah, righties are hitting .303 against him this season. Lefties have also tagged him, but he hasn't faced a lot of lefties. Career-wise, righties have a higher average, and lefties have also done some damage. So you can go with both sides of the plate, but obviously I'm just going to be looking at the righties from Royals, and I like Merrifield at 4,800. At third base, I like Vlad Guerrero at 4,200. Vlad Guerrero Jr. He's been hitting for a little more pop. Was in a slump for a bit. Has gotten out of it. Has 7 bombs on the season. And he's been a lot better against righties than lefties. It is a tremendous matchup here against David Hess. Guerrero is surely the numbers for him against righties this season. Obviously, it's a small sample size, but he can do a lot of damage here. And Hess has been terrible against righties. He has a .262 average this season with 5 home runs against righties. And David Hess has gotten destroyed against right-handed pitching. He's given up 20 bombs already on the season. So 20 bombs already on the season given up by Hess, and 17 of which have come against righty hitters. So it's a .701 slugging given up to righties and a .268 average. Feel pretty good about Vlad Guerrero here at third base. And then in the outfield, I like a couple of guys down here. Like, I don't mind going with Grichuk at 4,200. He's pretty cheap. But I kind of do like $4,100 for Castellanos against Danny Duffy. Casty has been hitting the ball a lot better as of late. He has incredible numbers against lefties over the past couple seasons. This season, it's a really small sample size, as we'll look at it. He's batting like .289 against lefties. .289 against lefties with a couple bombs and just 38 at-bats. Last season hit for an incredible average against lefties. .381 with 6 bombs and just 147 at-bats. And so he's going to hit for a high average. The matchup is pretty good again here against Danny Duffy. He has a career .209 ISO against left-handed pitching, and Duffy has been really bad against righties for his career. This season, lefties have tagged him a little harder, but I expect that numbers to flip by the end of the season because career-wise, he's been much worse against righties with a .431 slugging given up. He only strikes them out at a 19% clip. Home run per 9 is at 1.21, and Duffy is not the same pitcher that he was earlier in his career. He's been a lot worse as of late. I feel like Casty can tag him here for a bomb, or at least a couple of extra base hits, at least an extra base hit. So I like Castellanos here at 4,100. Now I'm going to run through some teams I don't mind stacking. Like, I like this Toronto Orioles stack here. Both pitchers are very bad. On the Blue Jays, I go with like Talese is cheap at 35. I like Talese. I like Guerrero. I like Gurriel and Grichuk a lot, especially Grichuk at 4,200. On the Orioles, I don't mind. Like, if you want to go super cheap, I don't mind Chris Davis. If you want to pay up at both pitcher spots, I don't mind Chris Davis at 2,900. I don't mind VR, and I don't mind Mancini or Broxton. The Phillies, I like Harper is very cheap at 4,200. And Kingery's just been hitting the cover off the ball at 43. So I like those two guys, and I kind of like Hoskins at 44. On the Diamondbacks, I only have interest in the lefties against Eflin. He's had some pretty severe splits for his career. Lefties have hit him a lot better than righties, so I don't mind going with like Peralta, Marte, and like maybe Dyson if you want to get really creative, or Escobar. No interest in any bats in this Miami game. Not that much interest in this game except for on the Pirates. I think you can look at not on the Pirates. Fade the Pirates. On the Braves, you can look at a couple pieces. They are very expensive, so they would only be like GPP unless you're going down at pitcher. But like Acuna, Riley, and Freeman stick out. And Albies has been hitting the ball well as of late. Even though he bats near the bottom of the order, you get him at low ownership. Here, I have interest in a couple Twins. Like I like Cruz against a lefty quite a bit. Rosario still pretty good against lefties too, so he can be a GPP play or a sneaky play in cash. Shoop is only 3,900, and Marwin Gonzalez at 38. I like him a lot, along with Crone. Not really any interest in this bats from this Houston game. On this game, I have interest in a couple pieces. I have interest in Merrifield a lot at 48, and Soler. Not much interest in Mondesi at 56. That's a pretty hard price tag to get up to. And maybe Colbert, first and third base eligible. On the Tigers, interest in a couple lefties like Dixon has some power. Goodrum if he's going to be in the lineup. Castellanos and maybe Jones. And last but not least, the Padres. Not a ton of interest except for some cheap guys like Reyes and Machado. Against, I know they're facing against Anderson. Anderson hasn't been really good with the strikeouts this season, so I don't mind going with like a cheap Padre stack. But that's it for the video. My main stacks today are going to be the Twins, Blue Jays, and I like a couple pieces from this Detroit team and this KC team, like Merrifield and Cast are my favorite individual plays on both sides. And I don't mind like an Orioles stack either. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. You can drop a like if you did. And good luck today.